Good morning, Mr. Prasad.
Morning.
How are you?
Good, good. How about you?
Doing good, sir. Doing good.
Yeah.
People need to mute.
Yeah.
So is Rahul there?
Yes,
Hi,
yes.
sir. Good morning.
Good morning. So Rahul, how many people are expected today?
Sir, totally we have received confirmation from 21 people. But as of now, I think 8 guests have participated.
So we should keep a cutoff after that. We'll have to start the meeting.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And
So, sir, just we will wait for 1 more minute and then we will start, sir.
So maybe we can have one round of introduction, brief introduction.
Yeah. So good morning, everyone. So we have Mr. Prasad Joglekar, who is CPO Jubilant. Okay, so supply chain. Okay, and he will be the moderator, and we'll start, with him sharing his views and what are the things which he is doing and how he foresee the things post-COVID era, and what are the ways technologies he thinks is helping it out in his organization, as well as he will share his generic view in what all other ways technology can help. Okay, and we also have Mr. Rahul Nigade from Coca-Cola, HCCB. He's heading the supply chain there. We have Mr. Sanjay Suryavanshi. Okay, he is head of procurement, Kirloskar Pneumatics. We also have Mr. Ankur Sharma, and yeah. So, and then we have from Mavin Vista, we have Mr. Akshat and we have Mr. Kamlesh.
Hello. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everyone.
So, sir, meanwhile, as more people are joining, so I request, if participants also they have to introduce themselves, please feel free to share your introduction, sir. I think that way we will get together and get familiar with everyone.
Hello.
Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Rahul. So please, maybe you can take the initiative and start introducing yourself, and then maybe we can have other our guests with the introduction round.
Yeah. It's okay. So good morning, everyone. I am Prasad Joglekar from Jubilant Life Science. I am taking care of supply chain for Jubilant Life Science chemical vertical. So we have got two verticals, the pharma and the chemical side, what we call as life science ingredient side. So I am heading the life science ingredient side. I think maybe Rahul can introduce himself and then Akshat.
Yeah. So good morning, everyone. This is Rahul. I am Vice President Sales and Marketing of Mavin Vista, and maybe now, maybe Akshat, you can take over.
Good morning, everyone. Myself, Akshat Bansal, Senior Lead Corporate Sales for Mavin Vista Technologies, working in the team of Rahul. and being here in the industry since last 5 years, so taking care of the supply chain and the procurement consulting part to the organizations. So how efficiently we can take this role and make them more efficient in this entire supply chain process. Thank you. Yeah.
So Kamlesh, you want to go ahead?
Yes. Good morning, everyone. My name is Kamlesh Chandnani. I am working as a senior lead corporate sales with Navan Vista, and I'm working with Rahul's team to lead the corporate sales for Maharashtra region and South India territory.
Yeah. So Mr. Sanjay, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yes, sir. I am Sanjay Suryavanshi, heading the function of SCM at Kirloskar Pneumatics, Hadapsar, Pune. I'm looking after the compressor divisions, which has 4 verticals and spare parts procurement also. I'm based in Pune, and we are stationed in Hadapsar plant, Hadapsar at MIDC Hadapsar.
Yeah, thanks, sir. So Mr. Satish, like you want to take the initiative and you want to introduce yourself?
Hello.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
This is Satish Gildea. I am heading the purchase and supply chain function at Fenesta. I have more than 25 years of experience in the field of procurement, in the development, warehousing, logistics. We are based out of Gurgaon. We have 4 manufacturing plants, one at Kota, one at Bhiwadi, one at Hyderabad, and one at Chennai. We are into basically UPVC doors and windows manufacturing.
Yeah, thanks, sir. So, Mr. Ankur, like you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, good morning, everyone. Myself, Ankur Sharma, and I'm a procurement manager in Fenesta Building Systems. It is into a UPVC doors and windows fabrication, and we are having 4 units across location. And I am looking after procurement of glass, different sort of glass from Saint Gobain, Asahi, Modi Guard, and few items which are like spares, consumables, and different sort of items which are required for fabrication of doors and windows.
Sure, thanks, sir. So, Rahul, like you want to go ahead and introduce yourself? Yeah.
Ankurji, you are based in? Hello?
Hello?
Ankurji, you are based in?
I am based at the head office, Gurgaon.
Gurgaon, okay.
Okay. So, Mr. Rahul, like, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Rahul Ligade. I'm part of Hindustan Coca-Cola Beverages Private Limited, and we have a global competency, in-house competency center, which is called GIC. It's similar to business shared services or BPO. So we handle supply chain related a lot of backend processes for India bottling as well as other bottlers, which is including Singapore, Malaysia, China, and some part of Middle East as well. So we provide procurement, supply chain, spares and maintenance, master maintenance, and managing their inventories, and also supply and demand planning, so sales and operations planning. So these are the kind of processes that happen for these countries, which is Coca-Cola bottlers in different countries, including India and rest of it. That happens from Bangalore. So I'm based out of Bangalore. We have a GIC center. We have 600 strong people who support all of these operations across different countries. Okay. So thanks. That helps.
Thanks,
any
sir.
particular area?
Yeah, thank you, sir, for introduction. So I believe I want to hand over now to Mr. Prashad. So, Mr. Prashad, like if you want to set the introduction and set the agenda and share your views, sir.
Yeah, I think this is not exactly the time to sit down and discuss about the strategy, because we are actually going through a very, very turbulent times. One of the most turbulent times that probably our generation or generations who have born in last almost 100 years that I've seen. So I think even the World War II had not created such kind of situation what we are witnessing today. And this to really sit at home and to work as if we are already in office, or as if the business is usual, is pretty demanding. And I know that all of us who are at home and who used to work almost maybe 9 hours a day are actually struggling today, and they are probably stretching as far as 12 hours or 13 hours or 14 hours a day. uh, so all the talks which are around work from home and the comforts of the home, etc., they were there for first few days, and thereafter all of that has vanished, and the job has become much more demanding. Yeah. And of course, the reasons are totally different. Reasons are that there is complete lockdown, and particularly for the people who are into the supply chain and logistics, I don't think anyone has seen more adverse situation than this in their entire lifetime. We all know that the trucks are not moving, or at least few days back the trucks were not moving at all. Now of course the things are a little bit better than what it was earlier. The ports are totally congested, the imports material is not coming through, the export material is not going, the vessels are not calling, factories are closed. uh, so everywhere there is bad news, so as to say. But of course, I think this last 1.5 months, 2 months, and if I go back a little bit more, then probably from the time when China declared that they are having this COVID-19 virus infection in Wuhan and some of the other places in China. So going back to January, I think from January to now, by the end of April, the life has changed world over completely. And probably once we come out of this, maybe if I am optimistic, maybe around June or July, the life will be completely different for all of us. And when I say all of us, means literally everyone, whether it is someone who is a professional, or someone who is a student, someone who is a housemaker, who is working from home earlier, someone who was doing the labor job, someone who was doing some other kinds of job, someone who was artist. For everyone, each and everyone, the life is going to change totally. And the new ways of working, the new norms will get established. In fact, already people have started talking about new norms of the work everywhere. And if you see the reports from the big four which are circulating all around the internet, whether it is from the McKinsey or it is from other consultants, everyone is talking about the impact of COVID-19 in this last 4-5 months, and they're all talking about how it is going to change the world order post-COVID. So there are two phases: one, how we are going to cope up during this COVID, and one is how we are going to cope up post-COVID. So as far as during the COVID is concerned, I think we all have seen how the digital technology per se has helped us to sail through this tough time. Whether it is, if I talk about the supply chain and logistics, whether it is about the ERP, whether it is about the softwares like procurement, e-negotiation tools, procurement softwares, which even Marvin Vista also is offering, or the analytical tools which we all have deployed in our companies, or some of the digital tools like tracking system for the trucking, tracking system for the containers. All that has, whichever company has done all that, actually those companies are lucky to sail through this particular time. And all those companies who had not done this, they are all facing tough times. So that's what is the learning what we are getting during this COVID time, that the companies who were fast enough to do the digitalization, and I'm not wording use the digitization, I'm using the word digitalization, who were very fast in going towards the digitalization, they are the one who are surviving through this particular phase. They are the one who are able to overcome the challenges posed by the COVID. All those employees, all those supply chain professionals who still are working from home like any other company, but the one who are working in a digitalized environment, they are able to outperform their colleagues from the other places by almost 100% or 100 or 200%. Now this is during this COVID phase. Of course, a lot of companies, for the term which government has used, essential and non-essential, a lot of companies who are not falling into not falling into essential category, they are all closed, which is going to pose a different kind of challenge. Now, as the industry is closed, as no cash is getting generated, obviously these companies are going to go through a huge liquidity crunch, huge cash crunch. They are all going to maybe one or the other way make themselves lean. So all those things are going to happen very soon. Of course, again, the directive from the government is not to affect the jobs of labor, the contractors, etc. But at the end of the day, if the companies don't have the cash, then obviously it is going to be very, very difficult for companies to survive without cutting the jobs. We have seen in the rest of the world, in Australia, the other day I was talking to one of my colleagues, and he mentioned to me that almost 20% to 25% of the jobs have been cut in Australia. Same is the case in United States. During this COVID time, the jobs have been cut severely across the board. Some of the other colleagues, can I request the colleagues to put their
ऑरेंज कैसा भैया?
अब बोला ना मैं उनको.
Rahul, can you put everyone on mute except me?
कैसा ऑरेंज? 100 मिनट.
Yeah. So the situation during the COVID obviously is going to be very, very challenging. All the companies who are working today, they are also talking of managing a very lean inventory. Gone are the days when we were having inventories of 2 months, 3 months. The companies which were cash rich, which can afford to keep the very high inventory level, they are also now trimming down on their inventories. People are actually becoming ruthless when it comes to talking to their customers, and everybody is demanding the cash upfront. So situation has dramatically changed in this COVID time. And when we come back after COVID, then it is going to change even more differently. I think most of the companies are already talking about significant amount of workforce that can work from home post-COVID also. So there is going to be a situation where when we go back to the office, significant portion of our workforce may be asked to work from home even after that also. Obviously, if they are working from home, there is a good possibility that the salary structure for the people who are working from home will be different than what for the people who are already going to be working from the office. Now that's one of the impact which all of us will be facing. Another aspect is, even in the office also, a lot of things are going to change. The organization will keep emphasizing on the lean organization, which means more and more digitalization, more and more use of artificial intelligence, more and more use of machine learning tools, more and more use of robotics, So all that is going to trim down the workforce significantly. Also, all those companies who are able to save the cash in these tough times, they are the one who are going to flourish big way post COVID. So, cash is going to be a decider as far as the fate of the company is concerned. All those companies having cash, they are going to be doing extremely good. Then, in terms of the work, I think a lot of things are again going to change in terms of the safety, in terms of the cleanliness, in terms of the hygiene. These things were never people never bothered about those things, even in the office at least. But going forward, this is going to change. The social distancing, the way we work with our colleagues, it is going to change dramatically. More and more meetings are going to happen from your cabin. So you may not be going to the conference room and meeting with your colleagues. You will be operating from your cabin only. So social distancing is one more thing which is going to be a norm in the future. I think, this is what I wanted to talk initially. I think I'm throwing up to the audience to discuss more about all and also about their experiences as to what they feel that has happened to their companies during the COVID time and post-COVID time. What is that they feel going to happen with their companies?
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Prasad, for setting up the platform. So I request other esteemed guests to share their view, and so that we can quickly move to the agenda points.
So maybe if Satish can talk about his experiences, because he belongs to a company, maybe Satish, you can talk about it, about your experiences during the COVID time and post-COVID time. What is that
Hello.
you expect? Yeah.
Yeah. 2-3 things you talked about work from home. I think work from home, initially when we started off, it was thought as people really will not be that productive when it comes to work from home. I also tend to agree with this thing, but what it has shown over the period of time is people have become more productive. One of the reason which I foresee is that because there are less distractions of meetings and people limited to their homes and nobody having a, you can say, meeting amongst ourselves, even at when we are living in societies or high-rise towers, people are also not meeting neighbors. So in that condition, what happens is distractions are minimal, and that is one of the major factor which I feel has resulted in huge productivity increases working from home. I don't know what other people have experienced, but what I feel is in this time, people are more sticking to the schedules. The discipline has been there. Also because online meetings are there. So everybody is joining at the very, very fixed time, which was not happening even in the offices. If you see in offices, actually, people used to be 5-10 minutes off and on and off. But in case of what I've seen is working from home, online people tend to be there 2-3 minutes before the meeting which has happened, and that I think is a positive welcome when it comes working from home. That is what my experience in terms of working from home.
I agree with you, Satish, completely.
Yeah, another thing which I want to touch upon is at this point of time, what is happening is the communication channels which are there are very informal. So what is happening is actually we are getting too much of information, but at the same time we are not getting the actual information which is absolutely correct. Like if I talk to the truck person, he tells me, "हाँ चल रहा है, नहीं चल रहा है." But what is happening in reality is for our company itself, we have 30 trucks on the road with close to around 2.5 crores of material on them. They are on road. So there'll be all the companies across India whose some material will be on road ads. Correct. So he's telling that some things are happening, but he is not telling that the actual supply chain in terms of right from the truck driver to the truck availability to the people who are loading and unloading, they are the critical factor to the movement of the entire supply chain. And that is one of the biggest missing link here. Even if the driver is there, truck is there, people are producing at the factory levels. But if there are not key people who are loading and unloading, see, we in India, you will agree with me that that kind of automation is not there, wherein at the factory level or at the site levels, if it is a site which is at retail site or a project site, forget about the B2B business, wherein companies may have certain kind of you say mechanization in terms of unloading, loading, but at like we there in the truck. What about the other people? So this is one of the things which is very, very critical at this point, and which I find is going to be a missing link. I don't know, maybe 2-3 months down the line also, because most of the people either have left for home or strangled or held, I don't know, at the different, you can say, out of their homes at different shelters, centers which government has made up. So that is also one of the key point which I find will be very, very difficult to mitigate in short term. One
Satish,
more thing
Satish, can I intervene here?
Yeah.
So that is where I was talking about the digitalization. If all those companies who are working with a fleet with 100% GPS, they are able to track and trace their shipments, their truck movement online.
Yeah.
For example, in our company,
Hmm.
we had insisted on 100% GPS and also the integration of GPS on a dashboard. So my logistic person was able to see how many trucks are there, where are they, and if it is reaching to my plant, when I should get it unloaded, and if it is reaching to the customer plant, informing them as to get it unloaded.
Yeah. No, in our case, what happens, Mr. Prasad, is that we are the people who are responsible for the unloading at the customer site also, because mostly 70% of our business is retail. So, you are ordering your windows, maybe you have only 2 windows.
Right.
So you will not be able to unload those windows, right? So my point is that missing link from our factories, maybe we can load, but what happens at the unloading at the place? So that is one missing piece. That is what I wanted to focus. And yeah, at the retail site, I really don't know if at present also, if you see, if things are moving to one shopkeeper, if it is small boxes, maybe 2 or 3 people, they can very well. But if they have to unload, suppose half a truck, what happens in that case? He will not put half of his day unloading the material, right? This is what I feel is a piece which is going to hurt us for next at least 3 months at least. But I wanted to actually pose one open question to everyone, that in this uncertain times, how do you when you do not know what is going to happen tomorrow, in 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, how do you plan? Particularly, like, we are importing most of our hardware from across the world. How do you plan 3 months, 4 months, 5 months ahead? What are those key things which has to be kept in mind? I really don't know. When like, we are operating in retail business, we don't have the visibility, and with these kind of circumstances, the visibility whatever we had is also lost. So how do you really come up with I don't know what kind of strategy, or what kind of solutions, or what kind of they are doing, what kind of activities are being done to mitigate these threats?
So,
I
if you
don't
may
know.
allow, I can just share a little bit on this, Satish. So,
Yeah,
I'm Rahul
please,
from
please.
Hindustan Coca-Cola again, and for me, it was much more complex than just managing India business. We're also doing stuff for Middle East Asia and also for Southeast Asian countries. So, first thing and foremost is that what we always thought that longer planning horizons and all work, and we had 6 months, 12 months rolling plans.
Yeah.
I think suddenly the window became smaller, saying that let's look at only next month and next 3 months. Beyond that, planning is futile because you don't know how life will be after 3 months. You might be having completely India coming out of COVID and economy also doing good. Then you have a life as usual, what was before COVID-19. It might be that COVID is gone, but economy is struggling. It might be that economy is trying to pick up, but there is no labor, as some of you explained. So similarly, we are just thinking about, especially more from procurement point of view, from raw material packaging material point of view. First thing and foremost thing Coca-Cola did is that we are cutting down on number of SKUs. We are cutting down from 150 to just 20 SKUs, and this is what we want to focus. Okay, we know that we will lose some sales. For examples, we have entire can range, which is actually giving much more profits than any other pack, because 250 ml Coca-Cola costs you in plastic bottle 15-20 rupees. Same amount in can costs you 30 rupees. So profitability is high, but we know that if you have to really work on cans, the supply chain is complex. The can bodies come from Malaysia, and that's not going to happen so easily, or it will be a lot of uncertainty. So there is no point putting effort behind sales of those SKUs. So we have chosen the products which are having domestic supply chains. So we have chosen juice category, mango, because it comes locally. We have discarded orange, Mosambie. All of those pulps were coming from imported countries like US or any other countries. So we have chosen the products, reduced the products which primarily depend on the domestic supply chain, to which we'll have a greater, kind of say responsibility or responsiveness in terms of anything goes wrong. Also, you can find something, some alternative, rather than just depending on some ship coming on the ocean, and you don't know whether the passengers or a crew on the ship is having COVID, not having COVID. Government will allow you to be unloaded, not unloaded. So we are trying to declutter the entire supply chain, making it really, really simple with only 20 SKUs and only 1 month and 3 month horizon, nothing beyond that. Rest all beyond that, it remains the business plan which was decided in last year Q4. So no changes to that. So post September or August, I'm not changing my business plan. Of course, it will have get impacted, but we will see as you move ahead 1 or 2 months from now. So that's the one thing that you really cannot plan long term from now, because there are various scenarios which will get built up. Number two, cut down SKUs, cut down dependence on domestic supplies where you have larger controls, and try to work around them. Number three, what we have tried for us, the biggest problem which no other industry might be having is our finished good write-off. So while we are struggling to cut down on the number of SKUs, we also have a huge inventory which we had produced in February and March first half, because that's our inventory pre-build time. Good morning. And that's the time when you have to plan for April and May, which is actually a huge or peak months for the sales. And our typical expiry date is 90 days. So by the time we come out of this, you allow most of my inventory, which is typically 15 to 20 days of future sales, which I'm already having as of now also, will come to close to expiry. So we are struggling with that at the moment, how to get over that in next 45 days, how to ensure that that is getting sold. At the same time, we really identified what is really getting expired in next 20-30 days, rather than trying to push into the distributors on any other place. We know that it will not get to the consumer before it gets expired. So we have decided to kind of give it free where it is getting immediately consumed. For example, a lot of people, police, doctors, need water. and juice, and that is still 20 to 30 days product life is left. So we're directly trying to deliver it to the point where it is getting consumed. So we've done a lot of changes to supply chain. Planning is still a big issue in India. It is even more in countries which are having more impacted than COVID. India is still very less impacted in terms of global scenario. So when we open up from 20th April onwards, we'll see a lot of movement. But for other countries, it's going to be a big task. So we are having a different country-specific strategy, but by and large, we have cut down the SKUs and try to remain with the local supply chain. That's the gist of it.
Hello. Rahul.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cutting down on this SKUs may not be the solution or option for most of the companies. I really don't know, but in our business, suppose if we are manufacturing 3-4 type of windows, and in one house all the 4 or 5 type of windows are to be installed, then I really don't know if we can reduce the designs or something like that. That may not be the viability for
I
different
agree.
kind of
For
businesses.
different kind of industries, the same strategy may not work. But possibly
But
what you might have to look at is that if you have an import component, can you substitute with domestic product?
yeah,
Because
that is there. That is there. But I think yes, that is also a good strategy that you mentioned, and cutting down on the SKUs wherever it is possible may be helpful rather than going for varieties. That can be helpful. Yes, I agree on that point. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Satish and Mr. Rahul for sharing your view. I also want to share some of the other views, like what I'm hearing from other groups. So what they have reflected is that, okay, so first thing, like, can we arrange specifically chartered transports, like for the labors and the workforce arrangement, so that they can be picked, and based on wherever their current locations are, the nearest location, the pick point to point drop for the nearest location where you need them, if that can be arranged. So that helps in terms of resolving the current migrant workers issue. Two, can they be motivated by giving the additional, like incentives for working in this scenario? Plus, can there be some insurance and all which can be done in order to change the current fear or the psychology which prevails? So the way like health workers are getting, like the insurance and all, can this same insurance can be offered to supply chain and labor professionals and that fraternity? Three, can some of the people, like those who have chose to come out and contribute in the supply chain activity, can they be make some case studies and can they be make hero and use them as the poster boy, like, hey, why they choose to come and how it has helped companies and so on. So that way they're also trying to keep the motivation and try to solve these issues, because right now it is the behavior, change in behavior which has gone in, or the fear which has been set in. So they're trying to eliminate that as well and motivate people. So that is another way what people are doing. Yeah. So now I think we have seen various perspective which has come in, and like how people are doing in this time. So now I would like to go to our agenda points. So how basically uh, you know you foresee that, okay, post COVID era, what are the things happening and how you are strategizing. So if our esteemed guests can share their views on that front as well, that will be really helpful.
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Hello, this is Sanjay Suryavanshi. Can I have a word something?
Yeah, sure, sir. Please go
Yes,
ahead.
sir.
Sir, the industry where I am working is a mechanical industry, and we buy more steels and electrical items. So I will separate my experience in this COVID-19, the way we worked before COVID-19, within the COVID-19, and after COVID-19. So the difference I have seen, this work from home culture, that the people, as rightly said by Rahul sir also, the people are now becoming very punctual to attend the meetings. Most of the time we have got more and more time to internalize our departmental functions also. Where are the mudas? Can we remove that mudas? So the people have got the time to thought process, improve the thought process within the team. So this has one good example or good parameter raised within our team, which I observed. Secondly, the supply chain head has to focus on the cost. So the cost reduction opportunities for the next year, the many people have brainstormed the very good ideas and put in front of us. That is one benefit we got within the COVID. Third, the engineering help, where VAV, they in the day-to-day rush life they were not getting different type of thinking or lateral thinking or out of box thinking. So engineering department also helped us by making good ideas. This is one benefit we got within this COVID-19. With respect to procurement and material movement, we observed that we are lagging. As Prasad sir said, the digitalization is most important. I get very good input from this meeting that it is very important for SCM head, because I have to plan and pay. I have a responsibility up to payment to suppliers and planning also. So it is very important insight given by Prasad sir of digitalization and have a lead management. Secondly, the workers which we depend upon as a mechanical industry, MSME, all MSME vendors contacted me within this time. Sir, how you are helping us by payments? So our company made a payment for MSE who were falling due in these months. So whatever that our company has really helped them. But the MSME in turn, we asked them to retain the workers. Don't ask them to run out of their factories to their homes and like that. As Rahul sir said, give an incentive or give some prime package for the time being. So that tactics has been started. So it is really helpful. Now the next challenge, in my opinion, we are facing is the price of the products or commodities. That is steels. How it will be, it will be increase or it will be decrease. So, in my opinion, the feedback given to me is now it will decrease, because uh, steel is a major commodity in the mechanical industry, which plays a vital role. That's why I'm discussing 2 minutes, not more than that. So these commodity prices are likely to decline instead of increase. People are saying that it will increase, but most of the people says my friends from outside this India and some are in China also, but they are telling the commodities will come down also. So this is a good opportunity for SCM professionals to grab the opportunities. This is my opinion. And after COVID, the planning process and the inventory which we do have, all these SM heads are looking after inventories. So there is a good time to work now on the inventory turns, the items, MOQs, minimum quantity. So this is a good time to internalize and use this time. So this much I want to give the input from my side.
Yeah, thanks, sir, for sharing your views. So I will quickly touch base one more view. So what other people are saying that they're trying to make, keep a balance of the cash in hand vis-a-vis the inventory which that can be stored and how much cash to expend on those stuff. Okay, so based on the demand supply which has to be reassessed, and according to that, how much inventory you have to store at this point of time and what is your cash situation. Okay, so based on these three parameters, it is the decision which is getting changed, and hence they're moving more from the long-term contract or long-term purchase to more of the spot purchase, keeping this couple of factors in mind, and then rediscovering the price on continuous basis, especially till COVID period and first 6 months, what is expected to be the more impactful period. So I thought I will just share those with. Yeah, yeah. So anyone else from our esteemed guests, they want to share their views, like how they're utilizing this time during this post-COVID and the post-COVID period.
If I may continue, Rahul Ligade again here from Coca-Cola. So like Suryavanshi said, it is to be divided the entire period into, according to me, 4 phases. Sir spoke about 3 phases. And so pre-COVID, I'm not thinking about. I'm thinking about the first week when we declared lockdown. So everybody was rushing, even in the company, to get the supplies and make arrangements. I will be tied over the next 3 weeks. So surprisingly, I am also managing the sales and telecalling to my distributors and retails and all. So surprisingly, we are trying to increase the sales force in telecalling because we believe that our salesmen will not be able to visit to the outlets and all. So how will we take orders? So it was a wrong assumption because obviously we came to know after one week that when salesmen are not going into the out in the market, obviously those outlets also are not able to sell much, and a lot of outlets will get closed. Like for Coca-Cola, most of the outlets are restaurants and other shops. Only the pharmacy and grocery shops will be on. So our first attempt was to channel up and gear up some alternative source of continuously getting the sales, not impacting the supply chain. Not how we are thinking how to get trucks, how to supply them. So our assumption was wrong because the demand from market will also go down significantly. It's down 80 to 90%. I mean, we are just selling at 10-15% only through national key account channel like Reliance, DMart and all. Otherwise, it's not there. So our assumptions were wrong, but we put some money behind it to prepare for the thing as if the salesman will not be able to go to the market. We will also be working from home, but market is on, as if market is requiring that product. So yes, that's where we went wrong, and we tried to beef up our telecalling capacity. We did it also. We did some interventions on telecallers so that they can work from home. We got new telephony solution which can allow them to work from mobile with least data connection or intermittent data connections and all that stuff. During this time, we're also trying to procurement side try to rush the supplies so that during the lockdown period, if you don't get supplies, our production should not get hampered. Again, we went wrong there because you would not imagine that the sales will stop and hence our warehouses will be full. So our production lines literally cannot run. Or even after getting permission from district collectors and all that our workers can visit factories, we will not be able to run factories. So they were like a completely wrong assumptions. So that was the first phase. Second phase, reality came down. All the operations stopped. Only national key accounts and groceries and pharmacy. So the sales focus changed from all the outlets. We left behind our 60% of customer base, which is basically restaurants and other things, focusing only on grocery, pharmacies and the national key accounts who are having a small stores like Reliance, Nilgiris, so on and so forth. And that really helped for us is that we are always planned for automation, less manpower. For example, all of our dispatches to Reliance, Walmart, Flipkart, or even DMart, even canteen store department, which is a police and store department. So all of this has been converted into a palletized dispatch. So we don't supply boxes. We only supply pallet. If you want one case of Thumbs Up 1.25 liter, you will not get it. For those customers, they'll always get a pallet, which will be say 90 cases or 100 cases. So their order has to be already in multiple of that. Because typically loading, unloading, some of you mentioned earlier, Suryavanshi sir or Rahul sir, Satish sir mentioned that you have a problem of unloading. So again, that industry specific things may not be applicable to all, but since Coca-Cola is a very fast moving product, and especially with the big customers like national key accounts, we always said that ours will be dispatches to them only through a 40-feet containers, so that we have a less manpower required even for loading at our factories through forklifts and other things, and driving the truck on the road. So 40-feet containers almost takes a truckload of 3 normal 9-ton trucks. That much quantity goes into one. So you require instead of 3 drivers, only 1 driver on the road. And even in the unloading point, they have mechanized unloading of the pallets, so they don't deal in the cases. So all those cases we started leveraging. Our sugar suppliers, earlier which used to come into 100 kg bags, now we get into, and that's not now, these actions were planned 6 months, 1 year back, from point of having reducing the loading unloading manpower, because it's a laborious work. It can affect injuries to the loaders unloaders. So the 100 kg bags were converted into a 1 metric ton bags, and that was a project 1 year back. While it was not intended for COVID kind of scenario, but it was intended to reduce the number of people lifting and just transporting the load from one point to another. So lots of such initiatives, automation. Our factories runs a large factory of 700 BPM bottles per minute. Factory runs only with 8 to 10 people. All those initiatives which have been trying over the last 3-4 years, they have been really coming to help now. While only few like water lines ran during this period, but in general the sales side we were helped by supply chain running with minimum number of people. So second week, I agree with Satish sir, Rahul sir, a lot of things happened apart from the physical work in the office work, corporate office. All of us tried to be more punctual on the meetings, more dedicated, more impartial, I would say, because now you are completely on the virtual thing, so nobody can see each other. You're not getting kind of vibes that you should speak or not speak. You are free to express your views. You don't have, still some people tried some other channels, SMS, WhatsApp, saying that put forward this time these issues, or these should not be put in the meeting, discussed in the meeting. All that vanished. So I could really see a impartial meetings apart from punctuality, and post meetings you have a gap. There's a proper schedule, so you got a time to internalize the meeting and come out with some action plan, some decision making basis, what new knowledge or what new sharing of views happened during the meeting. So that really helped, and I'm completely in agreement with Satish sir, Suryavanshi sir. Yes, that really is a important thing that we normally misses. In corporate office life, you run from one meeting to another meeting, even without accumulating and internalizing what has happened in the previous meeting. So all those benefits came. That's the second week. Third phase right now we are going through, which is basically now we're realizing that yes, someday we are going to be entering in the world of post-COVID. So what are the things I need to do now so that I am able to survive? So phase one, like Suryavanshi sir said, we also paid a lot of MSMEs on time. But now, phase three, we ourselves started feeling a cash crunch. There's a working capital issue because the revenues are not coming, but we are paying salaries on time. We are trying to make sure that 100% vendors whose payments are due in April, second week, third week are paid. They are not deferred. Being a Coca-Cola and being a large organization, people also look up to you that at least I will get payment from this company, if not anything other. So I will discount other customers, but this company will definitely pay me. And we didn't wanted to change that reputation. So we really started getting a situations where we had to. So right now we are in a phase wherein we are really seriously facing crash crunch, but we want to assure employees and vendors that they will be paid on time. So making arrangements for that. And right now also is a phase wherein we are also looking at, from procurement point of view, I think very important thing is that there are certain contracts or there are certain negotiations happening on services that were not rendered in April. So for example, I had a transporter and I had a commitment saying that I had to pay you 50,000 rupees per month. Somebody spoke about TMS, transport management system, or having digitally or location of each GPS location of each truck, and also having a dedicated fleet. So we already have a large portion of ours as a dedicated fleet. But then we are saying that, boss, you're not incurred expenses on maintenance. The only expense that you're doing right now is payment of your driver salaries and maybe your interest on your capital that you're deployed. So if I was supposed to pay you 50,000 a month, we're trying to get down to your detail on what is the actual expense you really incurred. We don't want to suffer you for that. But at the same time, I don't want to pay you extra for the other things that you would be paying. For example, the truck guy will be doing washing, greasing, lubrication, a lot of other things which are, since the truck is not running, is more or less parked. So you will have some leeway on that. So not 100% can be segregated that way, but we are talking to the vendors. We are even gone to the government of Orissa, government of Gujarat, wherein we actually go back to the electricity board saying that you charge me about 10 lakh rupees for a fixed load of say 10 megawatt. This month I have not used it at all. So as per the contract, I am supposed to pay 10 lakhs, which is my fixed charge, right? We requested them, and to our surprise, Odisha and Gujarat government has reverted positively, saying that we are waiving off this month's fixed charges to you, right? So this is the third phase, wherein we are trying to really work back with some of the vendors, trying to segregate expenses that they were incurring, and hence they must be paid out of the fixed expenses, and expenses that wouldn't be incurred, that should not be paid, and they are also understanding it. They are passing on the benefit. So a lot of people are getting discounts on the rental. A lot of people, even in I mentioned about a telecalling center, and that's through a third-party services. So since 300 odd people work from home, we say that you're not incurred for your canteen expenses, you're not incurred your electricity charges, air conditioning, and then this is a cost for that, which might be anything. It can be 5% of the total contract value, 10% of the contract value. And when we go back to the vendor saying that these are the things that you're not incurring. So let's be fair. While I'm committing to make sure that you don't incur loss, you also get paid on time, you should also not charge me for the services or expenses that you have not done in this period of time. And most of the vendors are coming back very positively, saying that this is a kind of thing that I have not paid for. So we want to pass on the benefit to you, and we want to reduce so much amount from the contract. So that is happening. Some vendors are sometimes acting funny. So for example, labor contractor. So we want to still pay them. We say that yes, please go ahead, pay them, but show me that you have paid your labors. Show me the labor, so that we don't miss out on those. Sometimes we in good faith, we pay the vendors, especially labor contractors, and they don't pass on that to the actual labor that who are doing. So our good intentions are not converted into a real benefactor for the society. And those cases, we are coming back and asking for the proof of payment advices. So this is a phase 3 wherein we really are trying to get over the cash crunch, work with vendors on reducing some of the costs that they have not incurred, and hence they should pass on that benefit to us, and so on and so forth. And now we are also working internally on budget post-COVID. So what is the cut? So I'll example is that I had a say 500 million budget, 500 million rupees, that is 50 crores. So there is a straight diktat from the top management saying that I want to get a 30% off on your OPEX. Okay, and it is for me to decide how do I come out of it. So very important and very essential things are kept, but I need to meet to make sure that I give a 30% on the balance of the year, OPEX that I'm having. So very hard decisions and tough decisions had to be taken, and those were not impacting people primarily, that we had to make sure. Indirectly it may. So for example, we straight away brought down the travel and travel and expenses budget, which involves air, hotel, and all those company parties, etc. About 2 crore expense balance of year, I made it zero. So I was questioned back, why you want to make it zero? Foresee anything because those parties or even meetings that happen, people travel a lot. So I said that's the new culture that we need to adopted. We have already adopted for this period. This should not only be used only this period. We should continue till December, and I should make it zero. And yes, there can be some exceptions, but when you really make it zero, any exception will stand out. Somebody spent 20,000 also for a travel. It will show me in my expense report saying that against budget of zero, somebody has spent 20,000, and I'll ask him why, what was the necessary, and could it have been avoided? Yes, it might be unavoidable, and somebody can explain it, and I can go back with that deviation saying that it was. So what will happen is that by making it zero, it really will stand out that who's really traveling and what for what purpose, and he will also feel very responsible that yes, if against zero I will be shown up. So some of these decisions which are in the post-COVID scenario, which is the phase 4 we are entering, wherein how do I make sure that in spite of having a big hit on my sales, how do I make sure that my budget and overall at a company level, our net income does not change. Whatever commitment we have made for 2020 in terms of net income, so that means if the revenue is down, I need to cut down very heavily on my expenses. So that's the fourth phase we are into right now, and which involves mainly renegotiating contracts for balance of year. Procurement has a lot of works. All the capex has been stopped, so we have cancelled all the capex orders wherever there was no commitment. Wherever there was committed capex, we are discussing back with them to how to bring it back. All OPEX 30-40% reduction. So I know directly, while we are not directly making sure that people are not laid off, but indirectly, yes, if we cut down on travel, I'm sure there'll be some impact indirectly on the travel industry collectively if a lot of people do that. But yes, but directly, when vendor has to cut down on people, labor contractor has to cut down on people from the previous commitments pre-COVID, we are making sure that we stick to those guidelines. So that's the 4-phase approach that I thought I'll share with you.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Rahul, for sharing your views and that at such a length for our clear and better understanding. So now let's move on quickly to the last point of the agenda: how leaders think technology is going to play a role in moving out of this situation. So, Mr. Rajesh, if you want to share your views on this, it will be really helpful. Hello. Yeah, I think there is some challenge. So maybe Mr. Rahul, you want to take and express your view on this?
The other Rahul, I guess, right? I already did Rahul here, Rahul Ligade.
Yeah. Okay, so let me share some of the views, like what we are hearing from other webinars and the other forums. So of course, as has been already discussed in the forum earlier and highlighted, that post this COVID era, and in fact along with this COVID era, so people have realized benefits up to 20 to 26%. That is what the survey feedback says, and that has various components in it. One, it is bringing the clear thought process. encouraging more participants, and the clear outcome which is getting defined here, like this meeting was having this agenda and these are the points discussed, and it is getting recorded, and hence it is resulting into the better directions which was not getting achieved earlier. Plus they're able to save the rent cost, electricity cost, and the, let's say, a lot of operational costs which is needed for the office and its sustenance. Okay, and along with the other cost cutting measures like on the tea, beverages, cups, cleanliness, and so on. So essentially in nutshell, because of all these and various other components, uh, the leaders are claiming it has resulted into 20 to 26% increase in the productivity, and hence going forward anywhere between, okay, 74% companies in general are saying that going forward anywhere between 5 to 20% of the workforce will be permanently working from the work from home model only, even when the COVID era is over. So these are some of the stats which are coming in. And also, yes, the issues with respect to the traceability, like where exactly the trucks are, because as of today, only the 6% of the 70 lakh trucks are flying. Okay, so where there is stranded, so with which authority they should be talking to for the clearance and so on. So unless and until technology is not empowering the supply chain and the procurement professionals, they will not be able to trace. They will not be able to help the drivers and the local supply chain issues, and hence the traceability, uh, negotiation with the appropriate authority, and for all of these challenging issues, including the study of the demand supply mismatch, making use of current situations of uncertainty, and hence rediscovering the price and so on. Okay, people are preferring more and more use of the technology and digitization as one of the key things. Okay, and they have divided even into their IT part. There. So as we are getting the views, like, okay, what are the things which they have to implement right now? What are the things they have to defer and do it in the subsequent quarters, or maybe in the next financial year, and then planning out those things. So digitize. So when they have done that, so the network elements and some of the hardware is stuff, and the new procurement that is getting delayed, but the digitization and other stuff that is coming in the priority. So that way they are also making some of the CIOs and other people, they are making their roadmap. So this is the feedback what we have got, and I thought, okay, I will share. So maybe other participants, if they have their different view, maybe please feel free to share those views.
Rahul, thank you for your inputs. I would like to add one more input over here from the technology front, that this is our third webinar which we are hosting on this agenda. So in the previous two webinars, we had plenty of participants, and we got to know some common concerns which the industry is facing right now. And one of the common concerns was availability of resources, people and resources. Right. So in the previous webinar, also we got input from some of the industry leaders that digitization can definitely help them to reduce the dependency on human resources and minimize the human interventions in different business processes. So it was not just about procurement and supply chain, but also into other business areas like customer support, then digitization of warehouses, digitization of other business areas to basically reduce the human interventions. So that is also one area where digitization can be helpful.
Yeah, thanks Kamlesh for bringing that those views, and also like I wanted to share one more update in this similar line. So the supply chain fraternity, what they're trying to do is that they're trying to come up with the the guidance. So I believe the white paper has already been submitted to the CII ministries and various government authorities that okay how they want to digitize this complete supply chain with minimal, because of course the complete 100% digitization might not be possible, but to whatever the minimum human intervention is possible, to that extent what can be done. Okay, so white paper has already been submitted on that front, and they are expecting that by 2024 or so, this procurement manual at the government level that itself will be changing, where the focus will be more and more on the digitization, so that the cost advantage and going forward any such dependency on the academic or let's say health issues or human resources dependency can be avoided, so that even in such scenarios, business continuity and the resilience can be ensured. This is another perspective, what government and those authorities are trying to do. So I thought I will share those views as Kamlesh has highlighted and brought that point. So now
Yeah,
maybe Mr.
I
Yeah.
I has little addition to digitally world that post COVID. So I would tell you that couple of automation or robotic process automation we had implemented about 6 months back, and that typically really helped us during this time. For example, PR to PO conversion, emailing the POs to the vendors, and having a regular follow up on uh, dispatches or completion of the services against the PO. So this was a robotic automation we had done earlier, which really helped us during this time, and especially outside India, because in India everybody was under lockdown, but some countries were there for whom we were giving service from India. So we are under lockdown, but those services are working normal. For example, Singapore, Malaysia, etc. So that helped, and it will be having more usefulness in future, more adaptability. The other point I want to say, a similar RPA on invoice processing. So we used to get invoices in different formats. We used to scan them. We had used a lot of optical readers to identify where is a customer code, where is a material code, where is a basic value, where is a tax value. And then we used to read and try to populate that into SAP before we could clear their invoice. So now I think government has already taken initiative of e-invoicing, and that will be much more speedily get implemented, because physical invoices could not come. So right now we made an exception saying that we can get a scanned copy of invoices and we'll still process it, and assuming that the real invoices will come after a few days after COVID. So earlier all those barriers were there, that we will not process the invoice till we get a physical invoice, or e-invoice alone is not sufficient. Before actually making a payment to the vendor, I should have a physical invoice copy with me so that I can avail GST. So all these barriers have broken during this time, and we have gone ahead and paid the vendors, of course in good faith, and we are sure that we will get all those invoices when we need it. But from government side also, all those restrictions will come down, and I'm assuming implementation of e-invoicing and digitalization, as explained by earlier esteemed speakers, will actually gain much more speed, because these are all very monotonous activities, PR to PO, invoice processing, payment. But it's also important to make sure that they're accurately done. They're done with right price, they're done with right taxation, and it is actually not leading to any account reconciliation issues. So all those repetitive high volume work, but very important from companies' books, will be more and more getting digitized, and government and a lot of internal barriers will break. That will help us to do a lot of things in procurement also in very automated and using latest technologies. That's all.
Yeah, thanks for sharing those views. So anyone else want to share some other views, because I think we have already overshot the time by good 12-13 minutes, right? So we have to summarize.
Yes, I think Rahul, we can summarize the critical points and conclude this webinar.
Yeah, sure. So Kamlesh, you want to summarize?
No, I think Rahul, you can summarize it. That is fine.
Okay. So first of all, I want to thank everyone for taking their precious time and joining this webinar. And we have a good discussions about the present scenario, the overall outlook and how the leaders foresee the things during the COVID as well as the post-COVID. We also have discussed, like the various challenges in terms of the cash flow, in terms of the various factors which is, impacting the supply chain, along with the role of the IT digitization and what, these industry leaders are doing in terms of, coming out of this COVID impact, and how they are managing their supply chain operations. What are things they are focusing on in terms of, enhancing the cash flow, enhancing the resilience, work from home, and how digitization in nutshell is helping them out. So I believe with this summary, I would like to conclude and thanks once again everyone for participation. We were really honored to have all, such esteemed guests joining us and sharing their views with us. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Rahul, for joining us.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks. Bye.